Welcome to Soul-Led Lifestyle Podcast with me, Adele McCoy, and my magical guests, giving you the strategy, tools, and activation you'll need to create your soul life. Hey, and welcome to the first episode. I am so excited for this. And today's question is, what is soul-led living? This is a question I get asked quite a lot. What do you mean soul-led life, Adele? What is that all about? Okay, so we are here in our bodies as humans, having this amazing experience of which we call life. It comes with ups and downs, swings and roundabouts, but ultimately it's us, right? Now, deep down inside, we have our souls, and as souls, we chose these human bodies to live in before we got here. And, you know, we knew what it would come with. We knew what type of family we'd get born into. We knew what type of friends we'd have. And we also knew what scenarios we would be coming into this world with and have to deal with. Some amazing scenarios, some not so amazing, some quite traumatic, actually. And you might ask, well, why would I choose as a soul? Why would I choose that type of a life to live? Well, the only way I can kind of answer this is like, imagine that you have certain lessons that you have to learn. And the only way you're going to learn them is if you go through door A, B, or C. So you've got A, B, or C door, and through those doors, you're going to learn the lessons. That's the only way you can come back. That's the only way you're going to learn. So out of all of those, you have to learn. Out of all of those doors, you have to learn the lessons that are in there. So you've got the choice of A, B, and C, but through A, B, and C, they're all going to be very different. You know, the scenarios in there, the situations, the people, you know, the places and everything that comes with it. But either way, you're going to learn the lessons that you need to learn in this life that you choose. So it's kind of like, maybe it's a case of we chose the better of all of them. The better door, if you like. So we've chosen our life, we've chosen our scenario, we've chosen our family, we've chosen, you know, the traumas that we're willing to go through to learn the lessons that we have to learn and all the rest of it. And when we are born into the bodies that we're in, and we come out of our mother's womb, we forget. It's like we're totally, like, it's been wiped out. Everything that we have been told as souls, we have now forgotten as humans. And what you will find is that you kind of float through life, and there'll be little things that you think, oh, this feels familiar, or I'm sure I know that person. You know, you meet someone and you just feel like you've known them all your life. They look so familiar to you, but you know there's absolutely no way you could know them, you know? And you might find that they would even say, yeah, you do feel familiar to me as well, you know? Now that's possibly because you've met in a different life before, as a soul, and your soul remembers that soul, okay? So as a soul, we will have wants and needs, things that light us up and make us feel amazing, and then obviously things that don't, okay? Now, through life, we're going to have a mixture of both things that we're going to go through. But ultimately, we will all have really huge goals that we'd like to accomplish. If I was to ask you, what is your dream right now? What is your big, scary goal? You'll have one, but it will probably come with, you know, but that's just a dream. And yeah, we need to see if that actually happens. And that's because your soul wants that goal. Your soul yearns for that. But your human is telling you that maybe it's not, you can't reach it. Maybe it's going to be hard. Maybe, that's just a pipe dream or whatever. Because your human has been, we've been born into the bodies that we're in, and we've had the scenarios that we've had, and we've been brought up around the friends and families that we've had, and we've almost been conditioned to think and feel a certain way. So we come away from what our soul's true calling is. We come away from who we truly are, because we're so busy trying to satisfy everyone else and trying to please everyone else that we actually forget what actually lights us up, what actually makes us happy, what actually is the thing that is going to be my big goal that I can just grasp with my hand and actually hug it and be like, yes, this is me, this is fully me. We forget, or we don't forget. We just think that it's too hard to get there. Okay. So living a soul-led life is living from the soul and not just in your head from what your brain is telling you and what your brain's been conditioned to be and do and all the rest of it. It's very difficult. I'm not going to say it's easy at all. It takes training. It also takes passion, determination. You have to position yourself in a space of, you might come across to people as being a bit nuts half the time. I know I do sometimes, but I'm not really bothered by it. So if you're not bothered by looking nuts to others and completely wanting to follow your dream, no matter how over the top it seems, or, because I have a huge belief that if you can see it in your mind, you can feel it, you can imagine that you have it, then actually there is a route there. You just need to strategically plan that route. Okay, so I'm a soul strategist, and I've had people ask me, okay, so what's a strong soul strategist? What's that about? So basically, it is what it says on the tin. So I help you to navigate your soul. Okay, so I see people with the gifts that I've got. I see people on a soul level. So when I meet you, I see things about you that you possibly don't see about yourself. Or maybe you do see them, but you don't want to admit it about yourself. So I help you to bring all the juiciness, all the great vibes, all the amazing magic about yourself up to the surface and start living in that way. Start using the gifts that you have. Start owning your potential, owning your power. That's what I do as a soul strategist. I help you strategically to navigate yourself there, to navigate yourself to your power, and to be confident in that space. And when you are confident in that space, any dreams and goals that you have seem a lot less harder to reach, because now you're in a position where, okay, I didn't even believe in myself before, and now I believe in myself. I actually believe that I can have that thing that I put so far up there on the pedestal and thought that I couldn't have. So soul-led living is about living from your soul energy and not just in your brain and, how you've been conditioned to think you should live. So for me, I never done things by the book. I was, upon reflection, when I go back to even my teenage years, I'm sure some of my friends from primary school would say I was a little bit wacky or strange, alternative, whatever. And that's because I always kind of wanted to be outside of the box slightly. And that's because I hated everything to be the same. And so growing up as a teenager, there were certain trends and certain things that as teenagers we all follow. it's the in thing to do, blah, blah, blah. You got to wear that. You got to have this. You got to have that. But Adele would roll up with something new or something different and just be a total different vibe, because I don't like to be the same as everyone else. And to some people, they would find it strange. Why are you wearing that? Why have you got that? But to me, I liked it. I liked that being the strange one. And now, like I said, upon reflection, I realised that that's because I was living from my soul's desires from a very young age, not so much from what my head, my brain has been programmed to think and feel because of the influences around me at the time. And coming up into the world, growing up, I done things my way. I done things, against the grain. I guess you could say I was a teenage mum at 17. I got a really good job very early on because I wanted to show my daughter that you can be a teenage mum and still be successful in life. I kind of floated through life that way, and I realised that I've always kind of gone for what my soul wants and not what everyone else thinks I should be doing. My mum, my dad, people had certain things in their mind what they would have liked for me. Of course, they wouldn't have wanted me to be a teenage mum. Of course, they wanted me to go into uni and, study law or whatever and become that type of a person, but that was never going to be me. Okay. When I became that mum, I didn't feel a sense of, that's it, my life's over. I felt a sense of, wow, now it's just begun. Because I was almost like challenging myself. I know there was a lesson there throughout that time as well, but it was a challenge. It was a challenge to, I guess, show myself that what I'm capable of. Where people would look at me and have their own perception of me being a young mum. Like, I wanted to show myself, not even people, it was all about me. I kind of had this urge to say, I can do it. I'm not like, such and such and so, who may have the similar scenario to me. I can have that thing. I can do that thing. Even when I got my first home, my first flat, and the way I decorated it, really out there, but quite grown up. And at the time I was 19, but I just had certain taste, certain flair. It wasn't like my peers would just be like, oh my God, why did you get that? What's that? Like that unusual, thing sat there on the fireplace, because that was just how I was from a young age. And I just knew what I wanted and I didn't care if you didn't like it. It's not yours, it's mine, and I'm quite happy with it. So for me, I was very much that way. And my mum would say the same. I've always kind of done what I wanted in the way I wanted to do it, even if people around me are saying, that's probably not a great idea. I knew in my soul that everything would be okay. And I also knew on the flip side when things are not okay. And I know this is obviously to do with the fact that I have these gifts I have. So I'm a psychic medium, born that way. I've always had these gifts from as far back as I can remember. So I was able to avoid certain things in my world as well, because it just didn't feel right. It just didn't feel right. I'm a huge empath. So I kind of was driven all the time by my instinct and by my soul energy. And I kind of say like I danced in my soul energy quite a lot. And I do it I do it tenfold now that I'm an adult. Living a soul-led life is basically living the life that you're meant to live, has a soul, instead of the life that you've been conditioned to think that you should live, mainly because you're keeping everyone else around you happy You may not necessarily feel fulfilled in that life, but it's a life that's paying the bills and it's keeping you content. And if you're happy with that, then that's fine. But if you feel that there's something more that's missing, there's something more that you want from life, then this is where you have to say, okay, what is it? Show me. What is it? Write down all the things that you would like in your life and start moving towards them. And it might mean dropping certain things, people, scenarios, situations, places, things, whatever in your world to make room for what you need to come in. I used to work in the city, and I'm from London, so I was travelling, London Underground, sweaty, hot in the summer and just miserable in the winter. But ultimately, I remember travelling every day to work. Even though I loved my job at the time, I worked for an amazing company in the city, and I would remember thinking, one day, I'm not going to be doing this. I want to do work from home. Don't know what it is that I want to do, but I know there's something else for me. You know, I loved the office banter. I loved my job. I loved all of it, but I felt like something was missing. I felt like, no, this isn't going to be me for 20 years. You know, I was working with people that had been working in that company for, over 20 years, about to retire, whatever. And I knew that was never going to be Adele, right? So back in 2009, I stumbled across a network marketing opportunity, grabbed it with both hands, rid the hell out of it, and done pretty well in a very short space of time. I mean, not extraordinarily well. I wasn't picking up checks for hundreds of thousands of pounds, but I was in a position where I was matching my income at work. And with that, I said, right, I'm leaving this job. And I'd worked there for 6 years. And by then I had 2 children. But I knew that I needed to leave. And everyone was like, are you sure? But these things don't always work out. And what if it doesn't? And blah, blah, blah. And I just sort of said, well, whatever will be, will be. But for now, it's working. And for now, I've got that urge to go. So I'm going to jump now. I'm a jumper. I'm not a procrastinator. As soon as something feels good, I jump, right? So that was a huge leap. And I came away and I, put my head down in my network marketing business and done really, really well. And then tragedy struck in 2010. Where my ex-partner passed away, but he was the father of my 2 children. And it all kind of made sense why I had to leave when I had to, because when I was working my full-time job, he was doing, school run, drop off, pick up, that type of thing. And then when I get home in the evenings, he would go off, and then obviously I'll do my bit, dinner, bed, all that type of thing. So it was kind of like I had to get used to doing drop off, pick up and all that. And when I left my job in the city, I started doing the school runs and obviously running it alongside my network marketing business. I was spending much more time with my children, and so I was in that loop, so that when he did tragically pass away in the summer of 2010, I was already kind of prepared on that side of things, if you like. This is what I mean. Always go with your soul, with your gut feeling, okay? I don't really know how my life would have been if I never left my job at the time that I did, but then I was made to leave my job because of the tragedy. I don't know how I would have handled that. I don't know how it would have all gone, but I placed myself in a position where I was able to just grieve with my children and do what I had to do for at least a year. I had enough money in my bank where I didn't have to work. because of my network marketing business. But what it did do also is my network marketing business nosedived because I didn't do anything in my business after that tragedy happened. And you know what? Again, that decision felt okay. I knew what was happening. I could see my business disintegrating, but I also knew that I had to be present with what was going on in my world. And so I just let it go. Basically, I left that network marketing. I decided to just come away completely and just, I guess, navigate the world through a different lens for a while. And, you know, then I met my current partner, Rufus, and went on to have another 3 children. And yeah, just kind of rid through life. But then I also knew at that time as well, after having my children, the 3 children, that I didn't want to go and do a 9 to 5. I made the decision never to go back to work in a 9 to 5 again after I left that job in 2009. And it's a decision I stuck by. So we tried various businesses together. Network marketing. We started a brand, a design brand, where I was creating inspirational clothing for children, you know, with like inspirational quotes and stuff like that on them. And it was nice, very nice, you know. At the same time, it wasn't easy all the time. It was very busy. And I had 3 kids at the time under the age of 3. And then my 2 bigger ones as well. So, yeah, but I managed to do it and get through it. And I've always been, from then, like business minded. Again, I knew, thinking back to when I was on trains commuting, I knew whatever I was meant to do, it was meant to be from the comfort of my own home and at my will, and, you know, not having a boss and being able to work my business around my children. So that's what I done. And then sort of fast forward, we decided to start a events company. And just as we was about to launch that, I got ill and COVID hit. Kind of like I got ill first in the December and then COVID hit obviously in the March. And it threw us off because it's kind of like, okay, what now? And then through a lot of meditation and going deep within, because of my illness, I got diagnosed with PE at the time, which is clots in the lungs. And going deep, I, realised what I needed to do. I got shown by spirit that I was meant to be doing this work. I was meant to be, their words were, I need to help women all over the world spiritually. And I was like, okay. And they were like, well, you've always been doing it. I said, but I don't really want to, because even though I have these gifts, it's not something I kind of want to shout from the rooftops. It's always been there, but it's kind of who knows sort of thing. So, but again, it was that feeling of inside, you know what, this actually feels right. This feels right now. So I'm going to go for it. And I had to step out of my comfort zone hugely, because I had to then go online and join a community of other spiritual people and really put myself out there and tell people who I am and what I do, and then get clients and all of that. And that wasn't easy. But with each client and with each interaction that I had online with women from within the spiritual community, it was like, just lit me up inside. And I just knew that what I was doing was the right thing to be doing. And I felt myself healing inside, because it was almost like I was aligned. Everything was aligned. We wasn't able to go out, wasn't able to do anything, but I was able to communicate with people online. And, it was a beautiful thing, a really, really beautiful thing. And I continued that work all the way through. And I'm still here now. I still do this work now. I don't just work with women anymore, though. I'm open to working with both men and women, couples, teens, you know, because sometimes teens are a little bit misunderstood with their gifts and stuff. So I kind of have like a range of people that I work with now. But because I followed my gut, because I followed my soul, that's how I got to where I am now. And it was the right decision to make, because look at me now. Like I'm living a life that sort of 10, 12 years ago, I yearned to have. You know, I yearned to be around my children, to be earning the income around my children, to be within a space where, you know, it was kind, it was bright, it was nice. Everyone had an understanding. I didn't really know what it was back then, but now I understand. And I absolutely love the spiritual community. I can have deep and meaningful conversations with people that just get it, you know. So yeah, I made some huge decisions in the past year as well. One of them being taking my children out of mainstream schooling and to home educate them. And it's been like 7 months now. And it's come with its ups and downs. It hasn't always been easy, and has my human kicks in from time to time, because I am human. I do wonder if I'd made the right decision. And then my soul kicks in and says, yes, you have, because there's so much more for me and for the children and Rufus to establish and to accomplish and to experience. And actually, by taking them out of school, the way I felt was free. I felt a sense of freedom, because I felt like that was kind of the one thing keeping me stood still in the same place. You have to always think, okay, if we move home, we have to find a good school. If we do this, what about the school? If we go on holiday, it has to be in the school holidays. Like everything was like around school. I work from home, so I can freely work where I need to work. But my children were at school and I couldn't do that. I think being in lockdown helped with that, because I had a taste of that. So it made the decision easier, if you like. And I also am part of a huge homeschooling community as well. So I've done my research before pulling them out of school. But it's one of the best things I've done. And now, you know, I've got some huge goals with the children and a huge sense of freedom. So there's a lot that's going to be coming up that I'm going to be sharing with you guys on the podcast. So yeah, I just kind of feel that, in a nutshell, living a soul-led life is basically living from that soul energy, even when it means that people are going to say and think that you're crazy. You know, because they would, because it's not their life, it's your life, you know, and people are not always going to be able to conceive what it is that you're trying to accomplish, but it's not really their business, it's your own. And as long as you're grown and in your right frame of mind to make these decisions, then I just say, go for it. You've got everything to gain when you go for it, when you do things from your soul energy. And freedom is the word that I get whenever I think of living a soul-led life. It's a huge sense of freedom. So yes, I hope that made sense for you all. Our next episode, we'll be talking about saying no and why it's okay to say no. We'll be diving a bit deeper with that. So I look forward to speaking to you all soon. And for now, take care. To connect with me again, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, under Adele McCoy. And you can also find me on my website, which is adelemccoy.com. And yeah, aside from that, take care, and I will speak to you all soon. Big love.